If you are looking for that East Coast to Dirty South unity on one album, then look no further than this record. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Muff. Please hit that like button and the subscribe button if you already aren't subscribed. But today, I'm going to hit y'all with my thoughts on this new project from Paul Wall and Termanology entitled Start, Finish, Repeat. The unlikely duo of Paul Wall and Termanology are back with their follow-up album to their 2022 project Start to Finish. It's the Houston, Texas to Boston, Mass connection repping. We got Paul Wall, the people's champ, aka the Up poet. Now, since his introduction back in the 2000s, Paul Wall has been very prolific and consistent as an artist. He is the definition of a Trill OG. And to this day, Paul Wall is still dropping fire feature verses, the most recent being on that Johnny Dang single. And he still has the internet going nuts, as I'm sure most of y'all saw Paul Wall go viral for his new white guy style haircut. And Termanology, of course, who reps Boston and Lawrence, Mass, came in the game at a similar time to Paul in the mid-2000s. Termanology is very well-respected, dependable artist who is super slept on. He's another MC who is dedicated to his craft and consistently kills verses. But getting straight into this project, Start, Finish, Repeat, it contains 14 songs lasting approximately 50 minutes. Now, if you are a fan of old school and new school boom bap, then you're likely gonna love some of the production credits on this album, because we have 7 beats from Statik, 2 from Large Pro, 1 from Diamond D and Buckwild, and J.R. Swiftz, Eshawn and Cartoon beats, each supply an instrumental. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The opener, Wallpaper, no chit chat, has some heavenly boom bap from Statik. The vocal harmony is mesmerizing, and the dense drums are some of Statik's hardest recent. On this record, the two are talking about being locked in grind mode, so they have no time for chit chat as they're just focused on running it up. I really dug the pocket that Paul Wall was rapping in, as he was just gliding with that smooth, slow flow, stating, not a phone number, but I'm gonna try to get 10 digits. I'm talking about piling up 1,000, them M tickets. That cake will make a stranger hate on you harder than 10 bigots. Now, Termanology delivered as well, but Paul just really slid on this track, in my opinion. Track 2 is Palm Trees, and it features AZ and Celine, and it's a feel-good summer anthem. We get calming R&B vocals on the hook from Celine, and a beat that feels like it was just tailor-made for AZ. You know, the fly 80s R&B sample type of instrumentation, that's exactly what we're getting here. And Termanology points out, you could be an underground talented rapper who spits bars, then in the next year, you could be a star. And the god AZ had a dope performance as well, and it is pretty clear that AZ and Statik always have great chemistry when they link. Following this is another standout, It's Magic with the legendary CL Smooth. Now, this has been the second CL Smooth feature I've heard in the past month or so, which is a good sign. And I gotta say that Statik Selektah was really in his bag with this instrumental, chopping up a classic Patrice Russian sample. I feel like everyone killed it here, but CL's and Paul's performances stood out the most to me. Specifically when Paul Wall said, when you write your top 5, make sure my name is legible. A walking NFT, my presence is collectible. Right after is Houston Barbecue with the trillest of the Trill OGs, Bun B. And by the way, Trill Burger is as good as they say it is. I went down there 3 weeks ago, and it was pretty fire. But on the production tip, we get what feels like an ageless boom bap beat from Large Pro. It's just a chill, dusty soundscape from Extra P that is dope, but it didn't necessarily feel Houston sounding. Bun B gives Large P his flowers and drops a solid verse, although I kind of wish he rapped with a little more urgency. Paul Wall gives a rest in peace shout out to both Pimp C and MF Doom. And Termanology closes out talking about how all 3 have made classic material. Yeah, altogether, this one is a gem that I'm sure traditionalists will love. Following this is another highlight. Talk about it. And this was released as an early single, and it has crunchy, head nodding beat from Large Pro that's basically flawless. It's that type of smooth but rugged instrumental that you could envision someone rapping to or freestyling to for hours. Like, I almost wish this could have been a posse cut with, let's say, Lil Kiki and the late great Big Pokey, since we are talking about H-Time. But I feel both Paul and Termanology bodied this. Paul Wall has some crazy wordplay with lines like, demeanor stoic to the game, remain devoted. I'm the candy-coated, most quoted, known as the poet. Things do wind a bit on the very chill track, positive vibes. Now, this has an ultra lush, syrupy beat from Statik and a solid sung hook from Tony Sunshine. Yeah, this was a cool mellow song about mind elevation and blocking out the negativity. So it's kind of hard to hate on. Then there is Do It For The Ghetto, which is a heartfelt song dedicated to their respective hoods. This features a verse from Big Crit and an auto-tune like hook from Lakeith Rashad. The hook was my least favorite part of the song, but it's all right. And I do like the radiant pianos and some of the socially conscious bars that we get from all three. Now, Termanology really drop some thought-provoking bars on the struggle here. While I could appreciate the content and the sentiment, I do have this as my least favorite song sonically. Immediately after is Got It Made, which features a dope verse from PD Crack and a wavy neck-snapping beat from the legendary Diamond D. Production-wise, it is in step with the times, but it's still stamped with that signature DITC flair. Termanology kills it on the hook, and Paul Wall comes through with some slick braggadocio. Yeah, if you are a DITC head, you will likely rock with this because it is a bar fest and a production. It's dripping with that nostalgia. Next is Blue Bill Bandit, which also features production from DITC, this time from Buckwild, who supplies the two with a hypnotic flute-like beat. Altogether, it's a smooth, wavy banger about getting to the money, and Paul Wall cleverly pays homage to both Big Mo, the Screwed Up Click, and Buckwild. Afterwards is Smoke Something with Chic Luch, and it's a mellow smoker's anthem with a spectacular soul sample from J.R. Swiftz. Of course, this record is about their love for Mary Jane. I thought this was a well-produced, chill record that I only could imagine how dope Devin the Dude would have sounded on. The vibes continue to stay on the smoother side. For Leather Recliner, we get a plush, synth-heavy backdrop from Statik that is the most contemporary sounding of all of his instrumentals here. Overall, it is smooth riding music with a slick 90s R&B styled hook from Mia J. I wouldn't necessarily view it as a highlight, but it's something smooth that you could ride out to. Track 12, No Apologies, has a sparkling, flavorful beat from Statik that is pleasing on the ears. This also features a verse from Bun B and R&B vocals from Deandra Nico. It's basically a perseverance anthem about pushing through obstacles, and Bun B had the standout verse in my opinion, but as a whole, it's a cool grown man motivational track. The second and last song is Real Life, and it's set to a slower, moodier beat from Statik with faint horns and guitars that pop. On this one, they are offering up some deep words of wisdom and advice on street life. It's definitely a dope track that I could envision Joey Badass sounding nice on. Then this album wraps up with Start, Finish, Repeat with Gorilla Nems. Now, this has a jazzy boom bap instrumental that feels slightly epic and is courtesy of Cartoon Beats. And it is a change up from the darker production that he has supplied Lloyd Banks and RJ Payne with as of late. All in all, it's a solid record to close this one out. So overall, I'm going to give this project a rating of 4 mics. I do like it slightly more than last year's release, which was dope. But I feel the production was a little more cohesive this time around. Now, the instrumentals did tend to favor more of the East Coast production aesthetic, which was fine. But to be honest, I would have found it a little bit more interesting to hear Statik and some of the other producers try to cook up a couple distinctive Houston sounding instrumentals. That wouldn't have hurt since one half of this duo is representing H-Town. As far as the bars were concerned, both Termanology and Paul Wall did deliver, but I would say Paul Wall is the MVP for me. The features were pretty strong as well, and I would say like lovers of the 90s and early to mid 2000s production sounds in hip hop should be pleased with some of the timeless boom bap material that was on this album. At the end of the day, I found it really cool and unexpected to see the boom bap community and purists give Paul Wall his flowers at this stage in his career. My favorite songs include Wallpaper, Palm Trees, It's Magic, Houston Barbecue, Talk About It, Got It Made, Blue Hill Bandit, Smoke Some, No Apologies in Real Life. But let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out. But as always, it's peace and blessings. Termanology, Paul Wall, start, finish, repeat. One.